Well, salutations to the kindred spirits. Here I am snooping around. I was poking around Mike O'Brien's website before the show. This is Mike on the Fool Us episode. We're keeping the sound low lest we risk copyright violation, and heck, maybe even having this thing on screen is a danger. Let's poke around here for just a second. We'll take a look at Michael's site, though. Hey, how about this? Having the chutzpah to bash something off one of the greatest magicians alive's head. Here's Mike O'Brien going for the linking finger ring right on Teller's head. That was more of a magical touch than a bash, I suppose. But I can only imagine the moment on that stage where you've got Pin's ring on Teller's face. No pressure, Mike. So yeah, here's our guest today, Mike O'Brien, O'Brien Magic. Magician from the West Coast, family man, obviously. Handsome family you got there, Mike. You can learn more about Mike at O'Brien Magic, but you know what you could also do is just hang around here for the next, 30 minutes or so, because he's our guest today. He's here live in the studio. Why not? Why waste any time? Hey, Mike O'Brien, welcome to the show.
I'm here live in the studio. Not your studio, but I'm here live in some studio somewhere in the world.
I consider this our Magi multiverse. Through some weird circumstance, I have ended up with a YouTube weekly live show. It belongs to everyone. I'm happy to have you in it today.
You know what? It's an honor to be part of it. For a little background story, we were doing the Magic Guys podcast earlier last year. And unfortunately, Doug wasn't part of it because he had something very important to attend to.
What was my excuse?
I don't know.
I know this.
Something.
It was important because I was really looking forward to having this conversation we're about to have. Genuinely excited. I probably had to make some money.
Don't get me wrong. I loved hanging out with those guys, but I was genuinely disappointed that you weren't part of it. And now, here we are. So this is going to be great.
We're here. The kindred spirits are here. I always like to say hi. I'm sure everyone's excited for this chat. Victor, Christopher, Thomas is in the house, Tim and Randall. Samuel Osborne is here. One of the futures of magic. Samuel is a young street performer from the UK, killing it on the socials. There's Nick. I had a question for you, actually. I was watching, let's start here, because I was watching your intro to the Penn and Teller appearance, and you mentioned that you were inspired by a street magician. And was that your beginnings of magic, street magicians?
That's the story I'm sticking with.
I love this.
So I'll give you guys the shortest version of it because it's kind of a long coming out of magic story. But when I was very young, I was maybe 7 or 8 years old, something like that. A friend of mine got a magic set for his birthday or for Christmas or something. And we shared the different stuff out of the set. We learned different magic tricks together, and we did little shows for our family and friends and stuff. Well, fast forward, and I started getting out of magic. I just kind of grew out of it. I was more into playing music, and I was playing, on the wrestling team and things like this. And my senior year in high school, I ran into a street performer on the corner of Hollywood and Orange. And for any of you LA guys, you know that is literally just a stone's throw from the Magic Castle right there in Hollywood. So
what an interesting pitch. That's a challenging place to work too. Hollywood.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right there. You just look like this and you can see the castle from there.
All right. I'll try not to interrupt. Let's hear the rest of what happened here. You're at Hollywood and Vine. I interrupt a lot, but I want to know who the street performer is. I want to know who he was.
I can talk about this for like an hour. That's why I want to try.
I might let you.
So so he was there street performing. I'm guessing he was at the castle and got bored or something, and he just left because he was just by himself there on the corner busking. Right. He had his hat down on the floor. He was gathering crowds, doing magic. People tipped him, and that whole thing. So after he was done with his set, I told my friends, hey, I want to talk to the magician real quick, right? And so I told them, I really loved what you did. This is my first time seeing a real magician in person before. And I used to do magic when I was younger, but I kind of got out of it. I would love to learn how to do some of the stuff that you were doing, but that was incredible. Like, where do I start? So he started giving me some recommendations. He said, check out like the Royal Road to Card Magic if you want to start learning some really easy card magic stuff with a regular
Love
deck of
that.
cards. And if you're interested in doing magic with other objects, there's like different magic courses and whatnot. And
I'm
so
curious, was the Magic Castle on your radar then? Was that like a
I,
place you ever thought about going to or knew existed?
I didn't even know what it
Yeah.
was.
Okay.
I
Just
didn't
curious.
know that I didn't know it was the Magic Castle until after all of this.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, so he said, here, let me tell you this. Why don't you come stand over here? I'll gather a crowd, and we'll do another little show, and I'll show you like what I'm doing while I'm doing it, right? So he had another little crowd, and he did some stuff, very quick, lightning fast sleight of hand card magic stuff, no long routines. He performed maybe for like 5 or 6 minutes, and it was like slide after slide after slide. He's kind of jazzing, and one of the pieces that he did was card to pocket with like the 51 cards to pocket ending and all that stuff. But while he's doing all this, he's palming the cards and whatnot. He's like flashing it to me behind his back so like I can see while he's
You're getting a tutorial during the show?
Exactly. And so he's showing me how he's doing it. And in my head, I'm thinking, like, how are they not seeing this? Like, it's obvious that he's got the card in his hand. And then I remembered, oh, yeah, 10 minutes ago, I was there and I didn't see any of it either, right? And so after all of that, I left very inspired. And I did. I grabbed a copy of Royal Road to Card Magic. I grabbed a few other books, too. Off the top of my head, I'm guessing like a couple of Carl Fulves books.
Where'd you go? Hollywood Magic down the road? Where'd you get those books?
No, I didn't. That's a good question. I don't remember.
When would this have been? What year was this?
2007.
2007. You're a magic baby in my world. How old are you, Michael O'Brien?
Right now, I'm 35.
Still a baby. Still a baby.
But yeah, so he recommended that stuff, and then I started studying for the rest of my senior year in high school. I really focused on doing magic. And then after I graduated high school, my first job out of high school was working at a little kiosk that pitched magic in downtown Disney, the like shopping district that's kind of an offshoot to.
That's the stuff. We're going to talk about that today too, because what an invaluable
UFO
resource.
card around, and doing some goalie decks and all that stuff.
This was a big part of my life, being a pitchman, and I worked the Magic Masters for many moons, more than any man should, maybe. Are you still doing that? Are you still involved with the Disney property?
Yeah. So what I ended up doing was I worked for this company called Houdini Magic, right?
Yep.
Houdini's magic shop. They're famous out of Las Vegas. There's like 8 or 9 different locations. Yep. One in San Francisco, one in Anaheim.
Yeah, Munari basically took the Magic Masters concept and branched it off a little more commercialized. And yeah, it was a great company. I think I think Gino did some great stuff.
Oh yeah, it was very, very much putting magic in the forefront, because none of these casinos had any magic stuff other than like if you were to go see a show at the MGM or see like Chris Angel or whatever, right? So I worked for the company for about a year, from 2007, 2008, something like that, to 2009. And then I left the company and I worked for Disneyland as an attractions cast member. So I worked on
That's even better. Man, it's so interesting. Our paths are so similar. Like my first gig was an amusement park.
Was it? That's cool.
Carowinds Amusement Park when I was 18 years old. I got hired right out of high school and did atmosphere work in Carowinds in North Carolina. Crazy.
That's really cool. That's not the park with like that big wooden roller coaster, is it?
With it's kind of a B park to the Kings Island properties, like Cedar Point and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the ones I'm thinking of. But yeah, it's the same company.
I auditioned at Kings Island in Cincinnati, which is where I'm from, and they shuttled me to the Carowinds property. So
that's cool, though. I love that. Yeah, I worked on the Jungle Cruise. I did all of that stuff. And then I left in 2016 to pursue doing magic full time because Disney was actually getting in the way. I wasn't able to do everything that I wanted to do. And so I left the company. And in 2019, a good friend of mine, who's the manager of the store, his name's Johnny Wonder, an amazing guy, an amazing magician, one of the best managers I've ever
What a name. Johnny Wonder? Is that his given name?
That's his given name. Yeah, it's not a stage name.
He's in the right business.
Stage name for the longest time. Yeah. He reached out and he was like, hey, a spot just opened up. Do you know anybody that might be interested? It's my name. said, as long as you give me the days off I need. He was like, all right, say less.
So that's a sweet deal there, because if you can get a guy that understands your needs as a professional, then you're winning.
Yeah, and then I did that for like maybe 4 or 5 months, and then COVID happened, and so it ended up being a blessing in disguise because I qualified for unemployment assistance and all that stuff. Which
oh yeah, you got the tax rep in before the
yeah,
show.
I
It's
slipped
not always
right in
easy.
at the last second. I slipped right in at the last second, and I was taken care of during the pandemic. So it was, like I said, it ended up working out.
Right.
And I am still there to this day. If you guys want to come by and visit at the Magic Shop in Disneyland, I'm working in the park now on Main Street at the famous store that Steve Martin started his career at.
I want to get back to this because I am curious about what Vanishing Ink is doing with this situation and how that transition went. But let's rewind a little bit back to the street magician. Do you know who it was?
I have no idea.
Oh,
I have no idea.
2007.
I can picture his face.
Hollywood card fit. He's doing 51 cards to pocket.
Yeah, I could picture his face. I would know.
Do you know Frank? You know Frank DeVille? Do you know Frank DeVille?
The name sounds familiar.
He's a West Coast busker. He works up in Santa Monica Pier these days. It might have been him.
I got to check it out. If anyone's watching this and you inspired a young lad on Hollywood Boulevard one summer eve to become a famous magician one day, thank you.
That's so cool, though. But I love that, and let me reiterate about how important street magic can be. I tell people this all the time, and quite often street magicians kind of get shuttled under the rug as the least important of the art. But truthfully, they're doing some of the hardest work and some of the most important work, and seen by maybe more people than like 99% of working magicians will see in a year or so on. So. Yay, street magic.
Constantly got people coming through and all that stuff. So yeah, it's great.
So let's talk about this. During COVID, you pivoted to the socials because I saw you showing up on the TikToks and etc. Everyone's swinging their bat, and you were one of them. And one of the people that I thought was crushing the format. And when I was waiting to like skyrocket up with me, I'm like, come on, Mike, and I befuddled me that you've had success. You've had good videos and good show, and you do great work on socials. Just wanted to note that. Are you still active on short forms and such?
First of all, I appreciate that so much. I no longer have a TikTok account. If I'm being 100% honest with you, it became overwhelming and it was no longer fun. It was very stressful. They constantly have to come up with content stuff.
So you know what I suggest? Maybe reevaluate that and treat it as a sandbox. Put zero amount of care. Like, don't worry about what goes on there because it legit doesn't matter.
Goes on there.
Yeah. And then you can use
success with is the long form stuff though.
This is the way, right? And let's talk about that because this is where your energy's at, doing long form videos. And I've looked at several of your instructionals is what I'm going to call them. You're not really teaching magic, but you're teaching the ways of a professional magician, the ways to learn and grow, and professional advice like this. And you're doing it really well.
I appreciate that.
So let's talk about that. When did you start that endeavor? About the same time?
No, so this is actually something I've been doing for a little while now. I'm going to say maybe 2014, 2015, I started putting these videos out. And
so before COVID.
Before the social media, yeah, but much before COVID. I'm going to say maybe 2015, something like that. And it started off as just like uploading one video every so often when I had something on my mind that I wanted to talk about. And the reason that I created the channel in the first place was because I wanted to put content on my website that I knew I would want to look for. Like when I was first doing magic, and I was like, how the hell do I put an act together or whatever, and I'm typing on YouTube, I'm looking, and there wasn't really anyone putting this kind of content out there. If there were magic channels, they were mostly performance for the general public based channels, right? There wasn't really any magic channels, at least that I could find, where their content was specifically tailored to magicians that want to become.
It was only dumb trick exposures, basically. I I was trying to share this, is what I was trying to share a minute ago. This is your YouTube channel. Here we are at
There you
O'Brien
go.
Magic.
There we go. Yeah, look at me.
Yeah, a couple of 10K subscribers over there. Let's look at some of these topics. How to post on Craigslist. Like that's, okay, that's information that you would not find in an average Magic instructional. How to become a member of the Magic Castle. Cool.
Yeah, a lot of these topics are actually just kind of things that either come across my feed or maybe someone asks me a question. And I'm like, that's a really good question. I should think about that, and I should, put something like that together. And not all of my advice videos are for professionals. There's actually a whole playlist that's designed specifically for someone that's just starting out in Magic that wants to, learn Magic properly, not just, and we've all been there. I'm not going to knock anybody that started learning on YouTube, because that was me. I first started learning Magic on YouTube as well. But sometimes when you learn a trick on YouTube and then you go out into the real world to perform it, you might not have the fundamentals that you need to understand how to presentation, put an act together, how to interact with people, all that. So I talk about a lot of that stuff.
There's so much here. It's like so much. I didn't realize. There's quite the education available on your YouTube channel, Mike.
Yeah, there should be over 200 advice videos, I want to say. If not, it's pretty close to it.
Yeah, that playlist had 75 in it for, advice for the professional magician. So
yeah, advice. There's 3 different advice playlists. There's advice for magicians, which is just general advice. There's advice for professionals, which is going to be more tailored to business stuff. And then there's advice for beginners, which is more tailored to people that are just starting in Magic. There's also product reviews.
Michael O'Brien here.
Oh my goodness, look at me. That's probably, I'm going to say, maybe 2 years ago or so. Maybe last year, even a year or two ago. I don't know.
I got
in there.
Looking at the product playlist. So you have a selection of videos of your original Magic as well. Can you feel a segue coming on?
I do. I actually have a couple of things prepared for you if you would like.
Yeah. So Mike creates Magic and offers things for sale at the website over O'BrienMagic.com.
Somewhere.
And said that he'd be happy to show us some magic tricks today. You want to do that now?
I would love to. So if I could hop on a soapbox and preach this one thing for the rest of my life, it would be, when you're performing Magic, you want to know about.
Got you. Sorry.
Got me?
We're good.
Perfect. Okay, cool.
We want to be passionate and be heard.
There we go. So let me say that one more time, just in case. If there was one soapbox I could stand on and preach this for the rest of my life, it would be, if you're going to perform Magic, you want to perform things that you are passionate about, because what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to connect better to your audience. They're going to learn something about you, right? So for example, inside this box here is something that I have been very passionate about for most of my life. I started when I was very young, and that is my love for Pokemon, right? Specifically Pokemon cards. I grew up playing the Pokemon TCG. For those of you who don't know, basically it's a game where you go to the store and you buy these like little, they're called booster packs, right? And you basically hope that you get lucky and pull a really good, rare holographic card out of the booster packs, right? Basically gambling for kids. But what I learned early on was that you can take something that you're very passionate about and inject it into your performance. So maybe if you're performing something that you already know, it could be a classic of Magic that you've maybe done 1,000 times. If you just think about it a little bit, you can add kind of your own twist to it. And that's what I want to do with this right here. I want to show you one of my more recent little creations. And this uses, again, some Pokemon cards, right? And this is a trick that I like to call PokeMonte, okay? Now, I don't know about you, but one of the most important decisions that I had to make when I was young was which Pokemon was I going to start off with, right? So I have 3 cards here. I have Bulbasaur, I have Charmander, and I have Squirtle. And they're all favorites for different people for different reasons, right? Like you got Bulbasaur, the green one. Not really too many people pick Bulbasaur, right? I kind of feel bad about that, but no one ever chooses Bulbasaur for whatever reason. Charmander was always my favorite one. And then Squirtle was also a really cool one as well. But when it came time to choose my favorite Pokemon, I told him right off the bat, I want Charmander. And he showed me, oh, well, there's Bulbasaur right there at the bottom. You can get a Bulbasaur. Well, I didn't want Bulbasaur. I wanted Charmander. So show me another card. He turned over the top card, and there was Bulbasaur again. I thought that's strange. You got two Bulbasaurs. He goes, no, look, right here in the middle, there's another Bulbasaur. I was like, wait, hold on. You got three Bulbasaurs, but I wanted Charmander. He's like, no, I don't got three Bulbasaurs. Look, there's Squirtle right there on the bottom. And then he showed me the top card. Look, there's another Squirtle there as well. And of course, in the middle here, there's another Squirtle. And now I thought to myself, okay, wait a minute. You have three Bulbasaurs and three Squirtles, but I wanted Charmander. Oh, no, don't worry. I got you. There's Charmander right there on the bottom. You see, not only is Charmander there on the bottom, he's also right there on the top. And not only is he on the top, I also have a Charmander for you right there in the middle. And so now I'm thinking, well, obviously you showed me three Bulbasaur, three Charmander, three Squirtle. You're using more than three cards. He goes, no, look, there's just 1, 2, 3 cards, right? Nothing more, nothing less. And now keep in mind, I wasn't the only one at this card shop that wanted to pick my first card, right? There was other people too. We'll just call them, Trainer Red was just standing over my left shoulder, and he said, yeah, I want that Charmander because I'm Trainer Red. Obviously, I want the red one. Trainer Blue, he was standing over my right shoulder. Of course, he picked Squirtle, right? Because he's blue. And I don't know if you remember what I said at the start or not, but I was left with one card to choose from. Do you happen to know which card I ended up picking?
Well, no one picks Bulbasaur. What's his name? I'm not that.
Yeah, Bulbasaur. That's right. No one ever picks that one, which is why I chose Pikachu instead.
Pikachu!
You see, because no one ever chooses Bulbasaur, right?
Yeah, very. Did it again.
That one there is my variation on PokeMonte, which is if you've ever seen it, it's like basically you have like a red card and a blue card, and then you have to find out which card is where. And at the very end, you propose to them. If you can guess which card is which, you win. And if you don't, you lose, and I take your money or whatever. And then you turn over one, you turn over the other one. You say, which one's the third one? And then they say, oh, it's either red or blue. It doesn't matter what they say. You reveal it's actually the green card, and it says, you owe me $14 on it. And then you end up swindling them out of their money, right? And I always thought this is kind of a cool routine, but if I'm doing like a children's show or if I'm performing something for somebody and I want to tell the story about how I was swindled in Vegas or whatever with the story, it just didn't feel me, right? And it didn't really connect to my audience. But adding something that I'm passionate about to it, like Pokemon, it really allowed me to do that, right? For example,
let me also note, I have a pet peeve about PokeMonte with this red diamond, blue diamond business. They're hard to see in low light. You can't even. And then what are they? They're red diamond. Is that really what they play Monty with? So yeah, taking this routine, which is actually, we give credit to a 3-card monkey business. I think, was it Bill Elliott? It's in Ibidem. He's the guy that originated this whole sequence, and you can go search your Howard Lyons collection for that information. But very cool. Smart to bring it into a family-friendly and relatable and what's the word I'm looking for? Topical. Pokemon has stood the test of time and is still very much relevant.
It's still extremely popular. And here's the really cool thing about this now. When you take out a deck of cards and you're going to do some card magic, the first thing that people do is they go, oh, I've seen this before. You can have me pick a card, any card, right? The reactions can be varied. Some people might say, oh, cool, card magic, right? I have never gotten better reactions performing card magic than taking out a deck of Pokemon cards. Even if you're not going to do any kind of specialized routine with them, you're just going to, I don't know, you have an ambitious card routine that you love to do, just don't do it with a bicycle deck. Do it with Pokemon cards, and immediately you take the cards out, and people are freaking out. The kids are freaking out because they're excited. Oh, I want to shoot. Like I did a birthday not too long ago, and I had to stop my act because the kid ran into his room and got out his shoebox and he wanted to show me all of his Pokemon cards, right? The kids love it. And then you got people, that grew up playing the same game. People that grew up playing Pokemon, or maybe people that are still playing Pokemon on, on their on their games, like you got like the new Pokemon games that are coming out, or maybe they played that big Pokemon Go app that came out a few years ago. I know a lot of people that had never even didn't even know what Pokemon was. They got really into it playing on that app.
I know Jason
So,
Maher loves this trick. Like he's a Yu-Gi-Oh player. He loves this thing. And I would
speaking of which,
what?
speaking of Yu-Gi-Oh,
What, you got a Yu-Gi-Oh thing going on now?
I got a Yu-Gi-Oh thing.
Hold on.
Somewhere.
What is this?
There it is. Here we go. You see? So
is this a magic thing?
This is a magic thing. We're gonna do not Magic the Gathering, but
by the way, I'll note I keep removing you. I love collectible card games. I only play digital, but it's another thing we have in common. I play Hearthstone and I play Marvel Snap. Do you happen to play either of those?
I don't play either of those. Hearthstone was one that I almost got into, though. A lot of people recommend.
Let me recommend Marvel Snap as an incredible mobile card collecting game, and we'll get back to the Magic chat now.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I grew up playing Pokemon, and then as I started to get older, I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Right? Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the big new thing that all the kids on the playground were into. I remember at my school, the cards actually got banned. We weren't allowed to play these anymore because kids were stealing cards and playing for keeps, and kids were crying because they lost like their $300, Blue Eyes White Dragon and all this stuff. So here's another example of another piece of magic that I think most magicians can agree is kind of tedious to perform, and it doesn't really have a reason or a rhyme to it. And what I did was I shrunk this routine down and I gave it a reason. And all I had to do was just add a theme to it. And in this case, a theme with Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So show of hands in the chat, or you can type a 1 or whatever you want to do. Who grew up either playing the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game or watching the TV show that would come on? I think it was Kids WB in the morning. I know I used to love to watch the show before I'd go to school. At one point, they actually did a Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh like dual marathon thing. That was pretty cool. But for those of you who don't know, the main character in the show, his name was Yugi. He had a very unique ability, and he could actually play cards from his deck without even looking at them, because he trusted in his deck with something he liked to call the heart of the cards. And I want to kind of do a little demonstration of that for you guys right now. We need to separate some cards here. I'm not going to use the whole deck for this. We're going to just use 10 cards. But we're going to separate this out into 3 parts. We got monster cards, right? These are the main cards that you use if you want to damage your opponent. You would attack them and try to reduce their life down to 0, right? The Dark Magician, that was one of Yugi's main cards there.
Cool.
One of my personal favorites, the Summoned Skull. There's that Blue Eyes White Dragon that I was telling you about. That was his rival's favorite card. And we use this one as well, the Celtic Guardian. We were talking earlier before this about my Irish heritage. There's one of my favorite cards there, the Celtic Guardian. Now, we're going to contrast this with some support cards, right? And these support cards come in 2 forms. You got spell cards, right? Which you can tell it's a spell card because it's like got this green color to it. These allow you to cast spells, right? To try to help buff up your guys or to take your opponent's guys out, right? So we'll use just a few of these spell cards here, and a trap card. You can tell it's a trap card because it's sort of this pinkish purplish color. And these trap cards allow you to literally set traps for your opponent so that you can defend yourself from their attacks and maybe even take out some of their.
It's like now I want to just play Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm so interested in this game.
I know, this is so much fun, right?
I've learned things now, and now I want this in my life.
So we have 5 monster cards, and we have 5 spell or trap cards here, right? So what I'm going to do, and Doug, you're going to help me with this. I'm going to mix these up. And Doug, what you're going to do is you are going to trust in the heart of the cards, just like our protagonist Yugimoto does in the TV show. And you're going to tell me, Doug, do you think that the card is a monster card, or do you think it is a spell or trap card? All right, so we'll place these here. I'm going to show you some cards now. This one here, Doug, is this a monster or a spell or trap?
That's a spell.
Perfect. We're going to place that there. What about this one?
Spell.
Okay, we've got 2 there. Let's do, how about this one?
Monster.
Monster. There we go. How about that one?
Spell.
All right, so far there. Just 4 cards left. Keep in mind, we can only have 5 and 5. What about this one?
Monster.
There we go. Down to 3.
Spell.
And down to 2. Let's do this one first.
Monster.
Actually, I think they would both have to go there, right?
Okay.
Let me make sure I did the math on this right first before we continue on, because I wasn't really paying too much attention. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potential monsters, right? And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potential spell or trap cards. How do you think you did, Doug, if you had to guess?
Knowing you, I'm guessing I did well.
You think so? We're going to find out here, okay? So we're going to lay down 5 cards here in the middle, and hopefully those will be the monster cards. Let's see how you did. You ready? Drum roll, please.
Right. No fancy sound effects. We're not there yet. Oh, no.
Summon Skull.
I didn't do that.
Parrot Dragon. Celtic Guardian, and Dark Magician. There's the 5 monster cards, which means, of course, you separated them from the 5 spell or trap cards. You should play Yu-Gi-Oh! Because you definitely have the heart of the cards. And all I did was I thought a little bit harder about adding a really cool story to this plot called Out of This World. And that's kind of my variation of that plot. And I actually came out with a whole project with Yu-Gi-Oh card magic that you can do with any Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It's just they're regular cards that I used from my collection. These
are not gimmicks of any kind. It's just standard handlings, applying them. So how do you get this information? What is this?
This is part of a project called It's Time to Duel, which at o'brienmagic.com on my website is another product. The one that I showed you earlier was PokeMonte with the Pokemon.
Oh, by the way, let me mention this. Hey, y'all, we're going to do a giveaway for PokeMonte. So everyone that's been hanging around for this episode, someone here, if you're in, let me be clear, it needs to be a domestic participant because it's kind of silly to spend $30, $40 to ship a $30 trick. What's the value of PokeMonte? How much is this?
PokeMonte goes for $25 on my website.
Yeah, so we're being a little reasonable about life, and we're not going to spend more to ship it than the product itself is worth. But hey, our word of the day is PokeMonte. If you want to type that into the chat, I gave it a capital P because it is the title of the trick.
There you go.
You can type that in. We'll collect some comments for a few minutes, and then we'll get back to that and give away one of these PokeMontes. Again, domestic North America, please. All right, let me. I wanted to go back to your website and kind of poke around a little bit. So let me get this.
Oh, I see what you did there. You wanted to poke around.
You might be just a little nerdier than is healthy.
You know why you should never take your Pokemon in the shower with you, right?
Do tell, Mr. O'Brien.
He might Pikachu.
Ah, Pikachu.
There we go.
All right, is your am I looking in the right place here to find what you were talking about? So I'm in O'Brien Magic, and if I wanted to get this information on how to handle.
Yeah, so click on the Magic Shop tab there right at the very top. Just go ahead and open that whole Magic Shop tab. So that takes you to my official online store. You'll see a bunch of cool stuff. I have a couple of products that are not released yet. The Fire Spin and the Pints and Prestidigitation are not out yet. But everything else there is available. It's Time to Duel right there in the dead center. That's the trick that I just showed you. That's one of 15 routines on that project.
Oh, I like it. Okay, then.
And then the PokeMonte is right there. I also have a book test. If you look down there in the bottom right corner, there's a trick called Sus, which we were talking earlier about the pandemic. I actually have some Among Us cards here as well. Did you ever get into Among Us at all? Were you part of that craze?
No, but I almost did. Like, that was one of the games I almost played. Literally, I play so much Hearthstone and Snap that I haven't been playing anything but that when I have the time.
So for those of you who don't know, And I got it right here if you want to see a little presentation of that one. But for those of you who don't know, basically this is an online game where it's a mobile game. It's like an app, right? And basically, it's like playing a game of Clue. It's a whodunit where you try to figure out who the killer is. Only it's in space. So you're traveling on this spaceship with these other crewmates. You have all these different colored crewmates here, right? And basically, what you would do is you would complete tasks, various tasks on this spaceship as a member of the crew, except one of them is an imposter. And it's the imposter's job to sabotage everything and kill everybody else and get away with it. If you can figure out who the imposter is before he can do that, then you win. If you cannot figure out who the imposter is before he kills everybody, then the imposter wins, right? And it's a really cool game. So, Doug, I want to test.
And I already love this as a card trick. I don't even know where this is going, but I love this already.
This is cool. This is fun. I love this. So, you did really good. You did 5 or I guess 10 for 10 if you want to think about it that way with the Yu-Gi-Oh trick earlier.
Yeah, I have a B major in mentalism. That's one of my
the odds on this one are even better for you, right? So we have 12 crewmate cards here. We have red, blue, orange, lime, brown, white, green, purple, pink, yellow, black, and cyan. I'm just going to kind of show these characters to you as I go along. And all I want you to do is tell me which one do you think is sus. Sus is what the kids say these days. And when they say sus, all they mean is like suspicious, right? So which one of these is sus as I go along, just like this? You tell me. Blue, orange.
Sus, the green one.
The lime one there.
Yeah, the
lime one is looking sus, right? Is there any particular reason why you think that one is sus?
No. Now I'm thinking I was influenced by the green light on the left, but what?
It might be. It might be. But that's the thing about this game is you never know until you vote, and you might kick an innocent person out of the game, and now you're putting the imposter one step closer to winning. But there's one thing that I have not showed you yet, Doug, and that is the backs of the cards. If you look closely, you'll see that they say crewmate on them. I don't know if I can show it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Crewmate. So there's 2 cards there. Crewmate. Crewmate. All of these cards, each and every single one, crewmate. Crewmate, all the way down to that last card there. They all say crewmate. So we have some crewmate cards here. We have some crewmate cards there, right? But you picked one, Doug. You could have picked any one, and you said lime was looking sus. Let's see how you did there. It looks like you got the imposter.
Awesome.
And so it's basically self-working, and it uses a magic trick that you probably already know, the 8-card brainwave if you've ever performed it. And all I did, again, and I'm telling you guys, this isn't super difficult to do. All you got to do is think about it a little bit, and you can come up with some cool stories for tricks that you're already doing. I've had to modify the handling for this because what if you didn't land on the imposter? What if you landed on a different card, right? So I had to modify the handling for this routine a little bit. But the cool thing is that it doesn't matter which card they pick. You're always going to end up with the outcome that they find the imposter, and all of the other cards are crewmates. So, and it's just evolved from there, you know?
And evolved in a way that is, in your character. These are pieces that fit you, things that you love. And I think if anyone can take away anything from that today, it's that, right? Look to, like I was watching the Penn and Teller special. You mentioned your Irish heritage. That's part of your character, your sport and the look. I know that we talked a little bit, that's important to you. And then the things you do in life, you bring into your magic, and it shows in that passion, obviously exudes through your performances of these pieces. Let's give away this PokeMonte before I get too far away. I know that we had about 45 minutes. We got about 5 minutes left before we have to say goodbye. And I want someone to get this piece of magic into their world. Let me bring up the giveaway tool, and
I'm excited to see who wins.
Yeah, well, we got 16 qualified North American entries. Let's click the draw button in 3, 2, 1. Good luck, everyone. All the kindred spirits on the screen there. I'm kind of hoping Nick wins this one. Dragon, come Come on, Nick. I know you would love this. But Charlie B, the Odd
Nice.
Family. I'm guessing from this screen name, the Odd Family would enjoy some odd magic. So Charlie B,
That's
the Odd
right.
Family. Let's do it this. Let's do it this way. You can send me an email, and you can do that at conjure@conjure.com. I will get your shipping information. We'll get it to Michael O'Brien, who has been kind enough to not just offer the product, but the shipping. Thanks, Mike. And a Kindred Spirit, thank you very much for participating and winning.
Yeah, congratulations. It's a fun piece of magic. You're absolutely going to enjoy it for sure. And it is one that I definitely have in my act. Like I said, what does it say? I'll spend the money like a good. There you go. Yeah, for those of you who didn't win, unfortunately, thank you so much for the support anyway. I really,
But
really
it's easy.
appreciate
If
you
you didn't
guys.
win, it's not that expensive. You just go over here to O'Brien Magic and pick up a few things, right?
There you go. Yeah, there's some fun stuff there. And I'll leave you guys with this last bit of wisdom, I guess, before we do like final questions and hop off here. But one thing that I do, and I do this with every piece of magic that I'm going to add to my act, whether it's something I purchased or something that I, came up with, right? And what that is I want you guys to make a list, right? So take a piece of paper and draw a line right down the center of that list. And you're going to have two columns, column A and column B. In column A, I want you to make a list of all of the pieces of magic that you could perform, and you could perform well. And when I say well, I mean you should be able to perform it well enough that you can get all the way through it without it screwing up, without it falling apart. You're not shaking, thinking, "Oh my God, I hope this works." Right? You're able to perform the trick for. If I were to say right now, "Hey, can you show us something cool?" You can bust it out and you can perform it, right? In the second column, in column B, I want you to make a list of all the things that you are passionate about in life that have nothing to do with magic, right? These could be hobbies, these could be sports, these could be sentimental things like maybe your family or your heritage or just things that you enjoy doing. Maybe you like to collect stamps. Maybe you live in New York City and you're very proud of that. It could be anything, right? What do we got there? YouTube. Oh yeah, I'll talk
Yeah, I
about that
don't.
in a minute. I
Well, we
definitely
didn't
appreciate
dwell
you
on.
though.
Yeah, you can do that with
I'll
Mike too.
definitely, yeah, I'll definitely talk about that in a second.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want you to make a list of all the things that you're passionate about, right? And then all you got to do is you just got to start playing that connect the dots game, right? So my list looks something like this, right? You got PokeMonte, you got 8-card Brainwave, you've got Out of This World, right? And then on this side over here, you got Pokemon, you got Yu-Gi-Oh, you got Among Us, amongst other things, right? And all I did was I just connected the dots. I started with the story and performing it exactly the way that they teach you from a technical standpoint with the new story laid onto it. And then I make adjustments from there. With the PokeMonte routine, I didn't like having 2 of the same card and then 1 of the other card, and then they flip-flop back and forth, and then there's a 3rd mystery card there. So what I did was I said, why don't there just be 3 cards to choose from, red, blue, and green, and then have a 4th mystery card appear,
Yeah.
the Pikachu card, right? So
like
you take these little things and you make these adjustments, and next thing you know, you got an original piece of magic that you're performing that means something to you, and your audience is definitely going to appreciate that.
Let's double, triple note this advice is not about, pick the coolest, hottest, flashiest new trick you can find, but pick moments that make sense with your character. Develop the story, give your audience meaning and reasons to care about the magic. That's how you become a better magician.
It definitely is. And I always tell my students, if someone walks out saying, "Wow, that was so cool how he was able to do magic with Pokemon cards. That was my childhood. And man, that meant so much that he did that. And then he picked this person and this person, named this. And I just thought that was so cool."
Yeah.
Like, I would rather that than like, "Oh yeah, he was pretty good. Sleight of hand, like I love the card tricks. And like, he was able to find the card." Like, I would appreciate that more because they learned something from me more than just
and more likely they remember you. And if you're booking gigs as a professional, you want people to hire you, not just the magician.
Oh, I have people all the time. "Oh, I want to hire you, but can you make sure to do the Pokemon trick in your act? My son loves Pokemon," or whatever, right? And then the last thing, someone mentioned in the chat, and I really appreciate you for reminding me. I am about 200 subscribers away from hitting 10K on my channel. So if you guys want to check that out,
Wait, hold
I
on.
really
Pause the
appreciate
button
that.
here. Pause the button.
Yeah.
Because I know this. We're going to have probably 1,000, 1,500 people watch this over the next week. I'm challenging, and I hope 200 of you made it this far in the video. Maybe you're just watching near the end. We're about to wrap up. Go follow Mike. Go make a dream come true, and then you win. You win because you get all this professional advice. There's 200 videos. I'm wondering if there's 200, and then you have membership content beyond that you offer for your membership. So y'all go follow Mike, and then what's in the membership? What do you give for that?
So there's multiple tiers in my membership. My membership is a family-based thing that is a play off my name, M-O-B, Michael O'Brien, right? I call it the Mob, right? So if you guys want to join the Mob, there's 5 different ways that you can do that. You can, and all of them involve you just clicking the join button and then selecting the tier that you want from the list, right? So, and thank you so much for those of you who are saying that you've already gone and subscribed. I really, really appreciate you guys.
That's the stuff.
So for only $1 a month, only $1, just one. That's $12 a year for those of you keeping count.
That's so cheap. That's ridiculous.
For only $1 a month, you support me and you get early access to my videos. So typically what I do is I schedule my videos to go out like every Monday, sometimes Wednesday.
Do you have a schedule? Do you publish every week? Is that kind of?
I try to do 3 videos a week. It's always 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time, and it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
That's a lot.
Unless of course something happens and I'm late on this or whatever. But it's a pretty consistent schedule. It's usually about 3 videos a week. All right. And then you get early access to that, so you don't have to wait. You can just watch the video as soon as I upload it instead of waiting for it to premiere. Right. For $5 a month, you get that. Plus, you also get full access to my tutorials playlist, right? So you're going to get, that not Pokemon, the Yu-Gi-Oh thing that I showed you?
Yeah.
If you were to purchase the digital product from my website, you're going to be paying $20. Or that whole project has been uploaded to my tutorials playlist for only $5 a month.
That's
so just that one project alone. And there's over 70 different videos as of this date in there. And these are things you can see the progression as far as, you got skinny, young, little, 21-year-old Michael teaching his stuff back then. And then you got me now. So it's like my life's work.
What are you on, like year 6, 7 of publishing the proprietary information?
No, like I said, since at least 2014, if not sooner than that, I've been
10 years
putting this stuff out. Yeah. So you got all of that. There's over 70 videos in that playlist, and many of the videos in there are full projects with multiple routines included, right? Now, for $20 a month, you get access to all that. Plus, you get to join me live the first Saturday of every month. I do my family meeting. And my family meetings are lecture sessions, very similar to this one, where I discuss some kind of topic that we vote on as a group ahead of time. So, hey, what do you guys want to talk about? I put together a little lecture on it, about 30 minutes or so, and then it's a Q&A session for the last portion of the thing, where you guys can ask me whatever you want. We can have a little bit of a back and forth. It's a great way to ask me questions.
Yeah.
So
it's a way to connect with you live and like an in-depth training session on a chosen topic. That's cool.
Exactly. And if I can get 10 consistent people joining me, I will be opening up a second session that I'm going to be calling the Monday Night Jam, which is going to basically be, we're going to come up with some new stuff together. These are ideas that I'm kind of playing with that are not really finished yet. And we're going to be, exploring those together. And again, it's another Q&A opportunity. You guys can ask me whatever you want. So that's for $20 a month. Now, the last 2 levels are going to be your boss levels. You have the Mob Boss and the Mob Underboss. The Mob Underboss tier is $50 a month, and the Mob Boss tier is $100 a month. And basically, as a boss or underboss, you get all of that other stuff that I mentioned, plus you get direct one-on-one access to me, where I will hop on a private one-on-one session with you, whether it be over the phone for a phone consultation or a video session like this. Now, the underboss gets one 1-hour phone consultation a month. and the mob boss either gets 2 of these 1-hour phone consults, or you get 1 hour of video consultation,
All right.
a Zoom session, right?
Yeah.
So basically, you become a student of mine if
Yeah.
you like a one-on-one student of mine if you become a boss or an underboss. So and then you get all of the lower tier perks associated with that. So if you're a
Yeah.
boss or underboss, you get to join me for the family meetings. You get to binge my tutorials playlist. You get all of that stuff. And then the last little bit that you get as a member of the boss or underboss tier is you get discounts on products. So if you want to purchase something from my website, you get discounts on that stuff too. So that
if I'm doing the math,
membership.
if you join the boss and then spend enough money, eventually everything's free.
Basically,
you get so much discounts, everything's free.
Real talk, I crunched the numbers on it because one day I was like, what am I giving away? You get if I charged you full price for everything that's in there, included in that, you're getting a 99.3% discount.
Yeah. I've done that math, and I do not offer product discounts for that reason.
Yeah, it's like $800 and something worth of stuff that you're getting for $100. So
I love that you're making a choice to offer YouTube subscribers proprietary content that's offered at a retail price for those of them that don't want to take that step, but then you reward the people that take that step for supporting your efforts on the channel and so on to get that premium value for doing so. So I'm going to re-encourage people to go to O'Brien Magic on YouTube and at least subscribe, but maybe join that membership. Sounds like a good deal.
If for whatever reason you can't support me monetarily, there are so many free resources on there, all the videos that I'm putting out and everything. I think that you'll benefit from it anyway. And all I ask is that you enjoy the content that I'm putting out. And if you find yourself in the comment section asking questions or just showing support, hey, Michael, I love the video, whatever. I try my very best to respond to every single comment that I get on my channel.
Cool. So. Not easy to do and very, very cool. All right, man. Well, we're wrapping up. I think we're nearing 3 o'clock, and for you, it's 5 here, and I think that's our time for today. I'm going to say to everyone that's watching, if you are in my I'm going to do a bonus stream this weekend, Friday or Saturday. I'll be on. I got some things that have been piling up. I got a bunch of magic to unbox and talk about. I'm going to do that this weekend, so keep an eye on the community tabs. That's about all I have to say. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention before we leave, Mike?
I just wanted to thank you, Doug, for having me. This is awesome. I was, like I said, really looking forward to this last time, and then, when it didn't happen, I was a little bummed out. But this definitely made up for it in ways that you couldn't imagine.
The only thing is, I'm a little bummed out that 45 minutes blink by so fast. I feel we could talk another hour, no problem. And
I would just be wrapping up my story, how I started doing magic, if I didn't tell you the short version. Right. So, but you know what? Hey, we can do another one of these sometime as well.
And we shall. Absolutely.
Maybe later this year or something. We can do a little, what has Mike been up to in 2024 kind of thing. So.
All right, man. Thank you. You have to come back. And
thank you so much to everyone that's joined, by the way. The thing that I love about this is that there are so many people in the chat who I recognize, because a lot of these guys are already following me and supporting me. So the crossover is amazing. The community coming together from all parts of the world.
Yeah, but it's because we're just so similar. We're like uber nerds. I wish we could talk more.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I know you got things to do this afternoon. I'm going to wrap up on your behalf. Let me once again say thanks to Mike. Thanks to all the kindred spirits for hanging out with us today. Mike, stay tuned just a second. I'll say goodbye to you in the background. I'm going to wave off the channel, and I'll see you guys this weekend. It's going to be ciao for now.
Have fun, guys.
Au revoir.